What's going on, my e-bike friends? Today we're going to be doing a rotor upgrade. We're going to be upgrading the front rotor right here, and the stock bike comes with 180 millimeter rotors for both front and rear. Even before I did all my upgrades and added more speed and more weight, I felt like when I would hit the brakes, it just wouldn't bite that hard. We're going to be changing the front rotor because people say that the front has 70% of your stopping power, and we're going to be changing it to 203 rotors. Now this bike does have regen function, but I've disengaged that. So for these tests, we're only going to be using our hydraulic brakes. At the end of our testing, once I've installed the 203 rotor, I'm going to do a bonus test where I do engage the regen. Now, to be honest, regen is great, and I barely use my brakes anymore when I ride from 35 miles per hour and under. But you still need good hydraulic brakes because regen doesn't really work that well when you need to do an emergency stop. It only works great if you know when you're going to be braking, because then you can plan ahead. But if a car pulls out in front of you last minute and you really need to hit those brakes, then you're going to be relying on your hydraulic brakes. So I'm currently at the mall, and I have this water bottle set up on the floor to tell me when to hit my brakes. And we're going to see how many parking spaces it takes me to come to a complete stop. For testing purposes, I'm going to be riding at 30 miles per hour. All right, let's count our spaces. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. I'll call that 5.5. Let's do this 2 more times. Oh man, I think we did worse the second time. We landed on the 7th space. Okay, this was better than the last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we landed in the 6th space this time. Okay, we're gonna go and change that front rotor to 203. Just gonna loosen up all the bolts and then remove them, and then we're gonna swap out the rotor. Dang, this is beefy. This was heavy. Now this is just a cheap, generic 203 rotor. It's not a name brand, but we're gonna give it a shot. We wanna make sure the arrow on the rotor is going the same direction as the arrow on the tire. And before we place the screws back, it's important to put some blue Loctite on there, or else the vibrations from riding will slowly loosen these bolts. It's gonna be super interesting to see if a larger rotor is gonna do better than a thicker rotor. So this is the adapter that we're gonna need for 203 rotors. I got it off Amazon. It's pretty cheap. It was like 10 bucks. Okay, so I did not end up using the adapter. I tried drilling and grinding and cutting to make it work, but it just wouldn't work. So I'm sad that I didn't think of this sooner. The stock adapter works if you use a bunch of washers or just a large bolt as a spacer. So that's what I did. I used 2 spacers. It sounds pretty good. There's a little bit of rub, but eventually it's gonna go away. Now that it's on there, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna do our brake test. Okay, we are back at the mall and I have my little cup set up. That cup is where I'm gonna hit the brakes, and we're gonna see how many parking spaces it takes us to stop. This is the braking test with 203 millimeter rotors in the front. Okay, how do we do? And we landed in the 6th parking space on the line. I think that's a little better than before. It'd be nice if we can land before the 5th parking space, or in the 5th at least. Okay, we're gonna try this 2 more times, and then after that, I'm gonna turn on regen braking and see if the regen plus the new rotors does a lot different, performs a lot differently. 3, 4, 5, and in the 6th parking spot. But we did a little bit better because we didn't touch the line. One last try, and then we turn on regen braking. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What? We ended up in the 5th parking space. Whoa! It's still not amazing, but hey, for such a cheap upgrade, you know, I'll take it. Okay, let's go turn on regen, see what happens. Okay, we go into the Far Driver app, go to follow, and we put EABS when brake valid, and save. So that means when I engage the brake lever, the regen will turn on. And at 30 miles per hour, I think I have the regen set to like 10 or 15 amps. There was so much skidding on that. I didn't know regen would help me skid. 6. We landed in the 6th parking space. 2 more tries. I know you're not supposed to skid when you're braking because you lose control and you just lose all traction. So I'm gonna try to ease up on the brake lever a little bit. It's like you're trying to find all your intuition, you know? Where you just, when you want to hit the brakes, you want to slam on it, but you shouldn't. Keep sliding now. Oh, that one was really bad. We landed in the 7th freaking parking space. What the heck? At this point, I'm pretty sure it's just my braking technique sucks. Yeah, I was fishtailing there. That was not good. That was not good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What the heck? Why did I do better without regen? That's so weird. Huh. I was definitely fishtailing there too. You know what? I'm gonna try one last time, but I'm barely gonna use the rear brake because that's the one I was fishtailing. I was losing control with. I'm just gonna tap on it to engage the regen, and I'm gonna use mostly my front brakes. 3, 4, 5, 6. Landed in the freaking 6th parking space. That's so strange. I don't know what it is, but after I turn on regen, it seems like I've been braking even worse. Maybe I'm losing control. Maybe my braking technique sucks. I'm not sure, but take that for what it is. On the first run that we did before the rotor upgrade, we were getting more in the 6s, and I think even in the 7. So the rotor upgrade definitely helped. We know that for sure. But my next upgrade is probably going to be 4 piston calipers. So I guess the 203mm upgrade helped us save about like maybe 1 parking space of emergency braking. I mean, the difference between here and there could be life or death, you know? See how many feet that is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's about 8 feet. 8 feet difference? Yeah, that's the difference between life and death or serious bodily injury. And these aren't even expensive rotors. These are like super cheap generic ones too. Like I said, you don't really need an adapter for it. Just use 2 bolts or 2 or large spacers of some type. I already had these bolts laying around, so that's why I used them. But they work great. I'm gonna gather all my parking space data and put it on a sheet so you guys can see the results from the 180 millimeter versus the 203 millimeter. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.